Okay, all right, so today we're going to be looking at how to make this noise, this generated noise here. It's got some lens flares, and it's got some glitch effects here. I just kind of laid it over this typography, this quick design thing, just to give you an example of how it could be used in real time. So yeah, let's just go ahead and dive in. Okay, so fresh here, this is how it looks when you load it up. And then so we have grain, and then we got that glitch effect here. Then we got the lens flares, very nice. You can adjust how fast the flare quote unquote moves around, and you can change the hue. And then right here is the lens flutter, which kind of goes along with the lens flare. It kind of has this flicker effect here. And then finally we have the fade, which is a very subtle effect. It just kind of gives your blacks a more faded look. And you know, obviously combinations of these effects can provide some very interesting results. And the lens flare actually kind of works because of the layering style that I use inside of here. It's excluding the exclusion overlay, the compositing top here. It gives it that very nice it's a very nice effect. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. And we're gonna add a new base, and let's go ahead and jump in. Let's start with the fade. For the fade, it's gonna be a rectangle top. So yeah, so it's gonna be a size of 0, and we're gonna do a level, and that level, we just keep everything the same. The way that we get the faded look is through the gamma. So we're just gonna leave that blank, and then we're just gonna put an out. For now, we'll go back to that later. And actually, let's make another let's make another base for the fade. Actually, let's call it fade. Cool. So that's in there, easy peasy. Cool. All right, so next one, let's start with let's go with the noise. Label it noise. Organization is really important. Obviously, it can get very messy. Something just to know about Touch Designer: the more nodes you work with, the messier it can become. All right, so the way to get the noise effect, that grain, dirt type of thing, is actually with the noise top. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to do all these knobs here are going to be down, everything, and the amplitude here is going to be set to 80, and the offset is going to be set to 1, and this is where we're going to control our amount of noise. It's through the exponent. And so we're going to leave that blank for now, and then we're going to go to the transform area, and then we're going to go to scale, that first scaling option, and we're going to do, just for simplicity's sake, you can change this to whatever expression you want to use. but just for time, we're just going to do abs time. And let's see, maybe 0.05 times 0.05. And so then you get a cool, already a cool effect going here. We're going to make that color. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put that into a displace. But we're actually going to make that the second input. So for the first input, what I used was a rectangle. And for these parameters, we're going to make the size 0.98 by 0.99. Border width 0.1. The border color is going to be white. Okay. We're going to make the size 1280 by 1280. So it's a square format. And then we're going to make the pixel format 32-bit float, RGBA. All right, perfect. Cool. Sorry, one more thing. Okay, so for the noise, the resolution is going to be 1280 by 1280. Sorry about that. And we're going to leave it at 8-bit. That's very important. If you change the parameters here to 16 or 32, you get some very interesting results. You know, you can come up with your own glitch effects here. Really cool. But what I'm going for is the actual noise, the little specks of dirt. So yeah, we're gonna leave that at 8 bits. For some reason, it's still not showing up here. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So very, very faintly, you can see some specks. Okay, so we have small noise here. We have very, very small specks, but we do want it. I mean, we want it to be a little more than that. But essentially, the thing that I found out that will really up the ante here is making another displace. And let's just disconnect that. And actually, just make a null here. So we got that first displace, and then we have the second displace. So for this next displace, we're going to change the horizontal source from red to alpha, and then vertical source to red, and that should be good. Extend, we're going to repeat it, and as you can see now, you can see some bigger particles. That's how you get some variation in the size, right? Pretty cool. I guess maybe we could deal with this first one too. Actually, oh, well, you can't. Okay, cool. So yeah, you do need two displaces here. So obviously, you know, okay, so yeah, you have the big particles, but how do we have both the small here and the bigger ones at the same time? It's pretty simple. You just add an LFO here. So, I mean, let's go ahead and do that, I guess. And we're gonna make this 8. And do a math chop. So from -1 to 1, and the new range is going to be 0 to 1. because we're going to be putting it on the UV weight here to change that size. And as you can see, you now have variation between big and small noise. Pretty cool, and it's pretty simple. So to have more variation, we can have the small noise and the big noise comped over each other. So let's go ahead and add a composite. And we're going to composite that together. All right, and so this composite type is going to be Zor. That's pretty much it for the noise here. To make some nice contrast, we can go ahead and add a level if you want, like those crisp edges, those crisp edges. So turn up the brightness. You can see more of the opacity as well. Turn up the gamma and the contrast. Actually, let's not turn up the contrast, so we can keep the alpha there. That's pretty much it for the noise here. We'll go back and worry about the exponent once all the other components are created inside of the main component here. So we'll just leave that alone for now. So yeah, have the null here, and then have an out. Let's go and turn that off, and actually turn all these off. So got an out here. We're gonna need that to be out. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Fades off. Okay, cool. Okay, so we can go ahead and make the next one. It's gonna be the glitch. So go and call it glitch. I call it a TV and my component, but I mean you can name it whatever you want, but I mean I think glitch actually fits it better. So yeah, we're gonna call it glitch. So it's pretty much the same exact thing as the noise. So I can actually, let me copy these nodes here. Only difference is let's turn it on. Oops, did not want to do that. For the noise, the offsets. See, it's already crazy cool stuff here. That's what makes the TV glitch effect. Noise is super powerful, but you could even expand this. I mean, the amount of TV noise typically would go from here. Actually, let's make this a little less. Let's do 0.01. Yeah, 0.01. Okay. And that's pretty cool. That's the TV glitch effect. Literally everything else is the same here. So this is what we're going to be controlling in the master comp. We're going to leave that alone for now, but we'll just keep it here. So that is the glitch / TV effect done. We have the out as well. Cool. The next one we're going to do is the flutter for the lens flare. We'll do the lens flare last. The flutter is very basic. Let's go on and get started with it. Flutter. All right. So we jump inside another base. Again, another rectangle. We're going to start with that. We're going to keep it at 1. Leave that alone for now, but we'll be coming back to it later. And then the fill alpha will also be controlling that, but we want the fill color to be black. That's giving it the flicker effect for the lens flare. So just go ahead and attach that to a null for the fill, the flicker here. Actually, we're going to be controlling it here via a chop, LFO chop, sorry. And we're going to be making that speed 8. I'm sorry, and this was what was going to be controlled for the master comp, the speed of the flicker. And we're going to go ahead and add a math here. And that new range is going to be 0 to 1. And that's going to be controlled here. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Give it an out. Turn that off too. We'll leave this one on because we'll come back to it. Cool. And then the last effect is the lens flare. So we're just going to call this flare, or lens flare. So we're going to start with a noise top. Okay, so for the noise, we're going to keep the seed at 1, the period at 12, and the harmonics at 0, harmonic spread at 0, harmonic gain 2, exponent of 4, an amplitude of 1, which we're going to be controlling that for the master comp. So keep that in mind. And the offset, we're going to keep that at 1. For the translate, or for the transform and the translate section, we're going to, so we're actually going to be using a constant. And we're going to keep that at 2 for now. And we're going to add a speed. And on the speed, just keep that the same. And then on the speed, we put that on the translates. And this will be the speed of the lens flare. So that's cool. Okay, let's go ahead and start colorizing this noise. Turn on the color there. Let's go ahead and add a lookup. And we're going to add a ramp. Ramp? There you go. Okay. All right. And for the ramp, I'm going to do this kind of a dark brown-ish color. Reddish brown. Say like right there. And we're going to make this one just a little bit lighter. Like that. That's cool. It looks pretty ugly right now, just trust me, it's gonna get better. So the next thing we're gonna do is add a level. And brightness is going to be 1. Gamma is going to be 1.24. Contrast 2.19. Again, these are very specific parameters. You can obviously change these to how you like, but again, this is just exactly what I was doing on the component here. And so the next thing I'm going to do is add a RGB key, and we're going to change the red min to 0.635, red max 0.048. Oh, sorry, 0.848. Okay, the red soft low, we're gonna do 0.391. Lastly, 0.629 for the red soft high. It's looking pretty ugly still. It's okay. We're gonna add a HSV adjust. Turn that range down to 0. The cutoff or the fall off to 164. Saturation range 1. And the fall off at 0.03. The hue offset is how we're going to change the color of the flare. Saturation, turn it down to 0.61. And the value is turning it on and off. So, oh, one more thing I forgot to add. For the lookup, we need to do use source luminance. So you get just these colors here. I guess we can make this a little more red. Interesting. Let's mess with this a little bit. Let's see if we can figure this out. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So, new colors here. Sorry. The basic, color lens flare. Typically, what I see is a lot of red and orange. So I just made that the default color. We're just going to do red. All right. And so for the RGB key, I messed with a little more. The soft high and the soft low is really where you see some of the color come out. It's taking away some of the color, so you see just flashes of red here. That's where the flare, quote unquote, comes in and out. So the noise is making the flare. Okay, so yeah. All right, now we're gonna add a blur to make it nice and smooth. Actually, let me turn this value back to 1 so you can see it. Okay. We're gonna make this sample step. We're gonna make it 27. Filter size 32. And the pre-shrink is going to be 8. Actually, let's make it a little less than that. Let's do like this. You kind of toy with it and make it exactly how you'd want the flare to look. But this is kind of a good range right here. We're going to put that into an out. Okay, so the value here is going to be controlled from the main component, and the hue. The value is the flare itself, if you can see it or not. So yeah, everything else is done. Let's turn it all off here. Turn the view off, and actually let's just keep this one on so we know we're going to go back to it. And the noise here, we can leave that off too, because we're done with that. Okay. So let's turn all these on here. So let's go ahead and just go from the bottom here, since we're already at the bottom. And let's just go ahead and over these two, the flutter and the flare. Okay, now we're gonna put this in a composite. And this composite type is gonna be the exclusion I was talking about earlier. No transforming or common changes. And all right, so now we're going to go ahead and layer this. The glitch, the noise, and we're not going to put the fade in. We're going to leave that last. So these are all layered now. I can actually go ahead and turn these off. Okay, cool. So go ahead and add an over to this fade and connect that to the comp. And so now, in order to use this entire component as an effect, we have to add an in and an out. So now we're going to go ahead and comp all this here, and we're going to add an in, then we're going to add an out. Looks cool. For the comp, we're going to do add. So this adds all these effects here. We are going to change this to whatever resolution you want the your project to be. You can use parent resolution or parent panel size, but I'm just going to do basic 1280 by 1280 right now. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Turn off the out. And that's good. So now we can go ahead and, I guess, plug that in here. So as you can see, you already have all the effects laid out here. Obviously, we want to go ahead and control those now, and those parameters here in the base. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and customize the component. And we're going to be going inside the internals of each of the components inside of it and adding parameters here. So let's go ahead and split our views. And let's keep it like that for now. All right, so first thing, we're going to add a page. We're going to call this page effects. Effects. Add a page. So now we're going to add a parameter. In this case, it's going to be the amount of noise. Whatever effect you want to have first in the component, we're going to add that first. In this case, it's going to be the noise. All right. So go inside the noise component inside of your base here. Go inside and go inside. First thing we want to control is the amount of noise. So that's going to be in the noise top here. So the exponent is going to be, like I was saying earlier, the amount of noise. That's the control. We're going to call this amount. And we're going to want this to be a float. And we're going to go ahead and add parameter. So before we do anything else, let's just go back out and see what we have. If we go to our main component here, you can see, let's actually go ahead and call this whatever you wanted to name it. I called it vintage film. This is an example. I'm just going to call it film. So component name is called film. If you look over here, we already have an effects page, which is the page that we created, and the parameter is amount. Amounts right here, 0 to 1. If we go back inside here, go back to the noise, we're gonna go ahead and just leave the default, the range and min, and the range and max. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to actually hit P. Over on our second window, we have our component. Go ahead and hit P, so we can see the amount here. What you want to do is grab this, bring it to the exponent, and reference it. So now we're going to control the amount of noise. Okay, so in the parameters page, we're going to want to add a header, and we're going to call this grain. You don't have to do this, but this is just for organization. We're going to drag that above here. Oh, let's actually rename that, so we're not yelling at everything. All right, grain, amount, cool. This is the noise. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the glitch or TV effect here. So we're going to go ahead and make another float. We're going to call this glitch /TV, or whatever you guys want to call it. And we're going to go and add that parameter. And for this, we're going to go ahead and do the default. We're going to call this 1. The range minimum, we're going to go from 1. We're starting from 1 at the left here, and we're going to go 2.743. So start at 0.743. Oh, that didn't work. Why is that not working? Oh, that's the amount. Oh yeah, okay. Let's move that below here. Sorry. Okay. So from 1 to 0.743, pretty simple. And let me get out of here. Go ahead and go to the glitch component or base, and we're gonna go ahead and go to the offset here. If we go ahead and close out of this real quick, you can see we can actually go ahead and check out our parameters. Our noise is off here. The glitch is at nothing because we haven't mapped it yet. So we're gonna go ahead and bring it to the offset, reference it. And as you can see, let me view this. Adding in some glitch stuff, pretty cool. Noise on there, it's still working. So let's go ahead and get out of there. The next thing we're going to go ahead and add is a new header. It's going to be the lens flare section. So we're going to go ahead and go to header, and we're going to call this lens flare. Add parameter. So now we have a new section, lens flare. First thing we're going to do is add another float, and it's going to be amount. We're going to go ahead and keep this default to 0. The min or the range min is going to be 0.5, and the max is going to be 2. Now we're going to go to our HSV adjust, and we're going to drag that over to the value here. Maybe let's keep this at 0. Yeah, that's better. Supposed to be gone right now. Let me mess with this a little more. Just wanted to make sure there's nothing else. Okay, well, back in these parameters here, this is what I have. Just mess around with it to get the lens flare that you want. Alright, so back to the parameters here. We're going to go ahead and add a speed float. We're going to go default 0. Actually, that default's going to be 2. The range is from 0 to 4. So it defaults in the middle here. We're going to drag that actually over back to the constant here. That's the speed of the lens flare. So we're going to just drag that. So speed, that's taken care of. One more thing for the lens flare itself, we're going to go ahead and add a hue. Actually, let me make this capital S. And call this hue, capital H. Add a parameter. We're going to default this to 0, but the range is going to be -360 to 360. Now we're going to go ahead and do the lens flutter. So that's going to be the header here. I'm sorry, we're going to go ahead and add a header here and call it flutter. Add a parameter. And then we're going to go ahead and add another flow. Actually, we're going to go ahead and add the button now, the toggle. So call this on and off. Okay, so for the flutter, we go out of here, go into the flutter, we go to the rectangle. The size is the on and off. We're flickering this black and we're flickering it over the lens flare. So in order to turn it on and off, we do that. And now we want to control, the speed of the flutter. In this case, the frequency of the LFO that's mapped to the rectangle. So let's go back and jump over here, add another float. We're going to call this speed. Add a parameter, and we're going to go ahead and drag that to the frequency here. Let's default it to 8. And we're going to do the range 0 to 20. The last thing on this entire base, the fade. So back over the top here. Let's jump in here. So for the fade, the size of the rectangle is actually going to be 1.1. I don't know why I didn't see that earlier. The fade is controlled by the fill alpha of the rectangle. Let's go ahead and add a header. Where's it at? Here it is. I'm going to call this fade. Add a float. We're going to call this amount. We want the range to be from 0 to 0.5. And then we're going to go to the rectangle, drag the amount to the fill alpha, reference that. So the max is going to be 0.5. So yeah, that's cool. I would turn that off and turn the amount off with the flare. Let's make sure it all works. So let me close out of this. Let's make sure it all works. We have the noise, we have the grain, we have the glitch, we have the lens flare, we have the hue for the lens flare. Oh wow, we did not map that. We're going to go ahead and go to the hue float. We're going to split this left and right one more time. Let's get out of there. And we're going to drag this this hue to the hue offset. So now that should work. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me just close out of this. Cool. So now I restart that. The hue, it works. I don't, why is it stopping at yellow here? This should be one continuous color. Why is it doing that? Okay, so I found the problem. One more thing I have to adjust here, sorry. So for the hue saturation adjust, we have to change the color from orange to red. And that should allow me to go from the full spectrum. So let me go back here. I have 360 to 360. Cool. And let me turn that back on. Okay, yeah, now it's working from the full spectrum. So let me get back out of here. So lens flare, and let's turn on that that flutter. Make sure that works. Turn up the speed here. Let's turn up the amount a little more on the lens flare. Turn the speed a little more. That works perfectly fine. Looks great. And let's see the fade. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool. This will be available on the derivative community site with all the other custom components that people make. Just be on the lookout for it. I really hope that you guys found this useful. That's pretty much it. Drop a comment if you found some solutions as far as like optimization. Me and my partner, we worked on it as a part of 47 Vision. Any feedback would be appreciated. Comments. If you got here from Instagram, I really appreciate that. If you didn't and you just found this on YouTube, follow us on Instagram at 47 Vision. So yeah, thanks again for watching. See you guys later.